everyone. We are very glad to have you with us today. We're speaking with our guest, Lauren Snelling. She is the Senior Director of Alumni Programming for the National YoungArts Foundation. Some of her initiatives are supporting emerging artists, focusing on professional development and mentorship, and commission and presentation opportunities for mid-career and established alumni artists on East and West Coasts. So Lauren, welcome. We're so glad to have you with us. You have a really global perspective on everything that's happening in the arts today. And as we know, audiences are going to look very different as we move ahead. Do you have a sense about what's next and where we're headed in the arts?
I think it varies across the globe, of course. The performing arts are experiencing an opportunity to really experiment with a wide variety of opportunities for audiences. I think ultimately a combination of in-person and virtual experiences are going to be the way that our entire field ends up moving forward. I'm really excited because Young Arts has lent into that a little bit in this coming season. We're really thrilled to be working as collaborators with the Center for the Art of Performance at UCLA on two separate initiatives. And one of them, called Sidewalk Sessions LA, allows an audience member to make their driveway or their front yard or their stoop really the stage. So it allows emerging artists in the Los Angeles area and mid-career artists to perform for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe in your front yard. And it gives artists a chance to kind of make their work and not spend all their time on Zooms. And another is called the Choreographer Scores. And it's an opportunity for 27 different choreographers who are shedding a light for audiences on the creative process. So they submit their sketches, their drawings, their early thinking strategies around the process of the making of a new work, and allows audiences a chance to kind of look at that. Those then are created into fine art prints, and the artists will be able to sell those for an economy that is so desperate for artists right now.
What's kind of wonderful about this period is just so much creativity is abundant. You know, people are trying new things in new ways, and it's making the thought process expand. How has the shift to working virtually affected your role with Young Arts?
Our main goals really are to listen to artists and to ensure that we can assist in any way that we have the ability for that authentic connection to take place between artists and audiences. Certainly when we first were sent home, the most important thing that we recognized was that we needed to act quickly and be nimble. We really looked to reaching to those artists and making sure they knew our commitment to them was stable. And in 3 weeks of being home and in the virtual context, we linked arms with cultural institutions across the country to be able to provide an opportunity for emergency relief funds. As part of the artist relief effort, with 6 other organizations, Young Arts was able to launch artist relief and simultaneously an emergency microgrant for our alums. So putting money in the hands of artists really quickly was very important for us.
Yeah, I know the arts were affected so tremendously, and they still are, of course, but I know the alumni, one of the benefits of Young Arts, it's a lifetime commitment. And so your help to them ongoing is just such a great asset to their life. So how do you think the present generation of artists and creators are going to be affected by this current time, this sort of new world that we're living in? What's going to happen to those people that are growing up in this period that don't have the opportunity to experience some of the things that artists experience on a regular basis?
Young Arts is nearly 40 years old, so we're working with artists that are age 15 all the way to 57. So there's a different kind of effect that takes place with a different age group, with a different discipline. Minorities certainly are disproportionately distributed in terms of the way that the effects of a pandemic take place, and we're really trying to focus on when a required pause in your life takes place, like this one. What are the opportunities that are provided to us in terms of looking backward in order to look forward? I think collaborating virtually is allowing some of that. The sharing of information in very quick time is allowing for that. I think artists long term will be able to be inspired by one another from both the past and the present.
What do you think keeps people engaged and inspired to create, like to keep them going?
Toni Morrison says, right, that like this is precisely when artists go to work. I hear from so many artists that they are just making and making and making, and this is a very prolific time for them. There is also a sense of responsibility to make work. Artists, I believe, are kind of soothsayers in that way, where they're speaking about our current status, what is happening in the world around us, but also what is the possibility of a kind of future that is out there, that is coming, that is not yet with us. So I think artists are finding ways to tell story. I think they're inspired to do that, and I think there is also a sense of responsibility and a sense of healing that comes through all of it.
I love the sense of responsibility, because I think that has kind of come with this period, that they really feel like it. And as you said, artists step up to the plate. They don't sit back and wait and are not passive. They step up. And I love that you said that. Do you see this kind of virtual world that we're in now as something that's just for the now? Or do you think it's going to be something that we really, implement on a regular basis as we move into the next phase that we move to?
The next unknown phase. I feel like there will be elements of our lives, of course, that come back to our social gathering scenario, but I believe that there are at-risk audiences that will just not be able to make it into a gathering space, and we will need to ensure that we have that connection in a virtual space. I think there is so much innovation going on right now that there is a kind of an allowance for both of those things to exist as we move forward, so that we are able to kind of have a combination of the two. Hopefully fewer meetings on Zoom, but I do believe that we can embrace a lot of these opportunities for the virtual space. There's a fascinating work that came out of Nashville. Jana Harper and Rebecca Steinberg made a piece that was meant for the stage, but they engaged a filmmaker in order to be able to make this dance work with distanced dancers. And because the film was made, there were elements of the story and elements that were meant to be felt about this piece that were so visceral because you were able to get a close-up shot that took place in a film scenario that I just don't know would have happened. So I think we will learn from this that we have to take some of these things forward in both contexts.
How has your industry responded to the crisis, and what should it incorporate in future strategies? Or what have you learned you'll apply as you move forward?
From the nonprofit arts organization perspective, we really have learned that it's important for us to link arms with our colleague institutions. We've found ways to support one another and collaborate and really kind of find ways to support this larger cultural ecology. And specifically at Young Arts, we are doing that through expanding our residency program. We normally house one of our alums here in Miami in the fall for a dance residency, and instead we're going to where the artists are. So we've collaborated with New York Live Arts. They're working under the restrictions they have, but we're just going to where artists are and finding how to support them. So our jewel box instead will be able to be used by artists who are living in Miami who also need space, and things have changed for them. So we're really, really excited to be able to support those artists here and also support artists out of town.
Wow, that is absolutely fantastic that you're doing that. So, thank you so much. We appreciate your conversation and your insight and your thoughts, and it's wonderful to speak with you. So I thank you so much.